Caminante is at once both real and imagined. He is a walker and a seeker. He is a poem and a philosophy, an everyday maker of trajectory. He wears a uniform. Caminante chooses to understand his own poetic development in order to be able to work toward a collective one with the Guild. This Caminante emerged in Spain as a response to the latest global economic crisis. From the household to national scale, economic conditions and irregular employment forced many to rethink priorities, reconsider their work, and with extra time, reread the poets. The generation of 1898 poets and thinkers facing hardship in another juncture in Spanish history saw old Spain redefining itself for the so-called modern world. One of the most famous lines of Spanish poetry comes from this time. It's Antonio Machado's "Caminante no hay camino, se hace el camino al andar." Walker, there is no road, the road is made by walking. Or we might say wanderer or seeker, there's no road, the road is made by walking. Or better yet, wanderer, there is no road, or seeker, there is no road, the road is made by wandering or seeking. But we have to ask if by Caminante Machado really means walker. Or are we talking about a seeker, someone trying to find their way? Or maybe off on their own in the forest, trying to imagine a different future. It could be a person, a community, or even an entire nation. So asking the poets, what are we to do in a time of crisis? Are we to walk the same road as before, or should we see this as an opportunity to seek out new paths, new futures, a new imagination, whether that's recycled or not? Should we wait for the system to show the way, or are we left to walk it on our own? I had recently been denied a job in New York where I could have walked through the 5 boroughs, ground truthing maps for the new city bike system. I didn't get the gig though. Walking's my vocation. Why can't I do my walking and be able to live from it? So I left New York and went to Spain. Wearing the traditional workman's coveralls, labeled with the trade or profession across the back, the Caminante recycled Machado's poem, co-opted the coveralls from the other guilds, and sought out a different way to work. The Caminante walked Madrid every workday for the entire month of April. The Caminante project proposed a rethinking of work by calling on the fellow underemployed to recognize that their projects were more important and to opt for this personal poetic development at a time of so-called crisis. Madrid's underemployed had time and some state money, but what were they doing with this basic income? At the same time, the project sought to critique an economic system which does not recognize all forms of work, nor necessarily care about personal poetics. In a way, Caminante sought to intervene somewhere in the middle between the individual and the state, between the walker and the system. The Caminante project continued throughout that year to evolve and develop in different geographies through day-long and week-long walks in Mediterranean Valencia in May, in the revitalizing downtown of Cincinnati in June, and all points of New York City later that year in June and December. In February 2014, the Caminante returned to the Big Apple through a Kickstarter-funded work-week-long performance framed by the practical economics of the living wage. Supporter funds equaled $500, just enough to maintain a basic standard of living in Manhattan for 1 week. The Caminante woke up each day, hopped on the train, and went to work, and posed this question: what if? What if we were able to do our own work while receiving a living wage? What if we follow that vocation? What if our projects become what we do full time? What effect might that have on the individual, the community, and the nation? New York is expensive, and so is Madrid, but a living wage can cover basic costs. For New York City, an income of $2,000 a month might not provide for much beyond that, and less so if you have any dependents. You'll be bargain hunting and secondhand shopping, but it should keep you out of the dumpsters, unless diving is your thing. The Caminante limits consumption and tries to free himself from those monthly payments. No cars, no cable TV, no cell phone plans. He asks himself, how much money do I really need to live each month? Can I work less to open up more time for my own projects? Living simply and simply living. The CAMINANTE project believes that if people do their own work, it's a good thing and expands human potential. The CAMINANTE walks because that is what he has to do. Others might have to write, sculpt, design, open a store, start a charity, create this, make that, creating and making. Caminante no hay camino, se hace el camino al andar. Caminante, you make the path by walking it. There is no prescribed route, no cartographics to follow, except the ones drawn out by your feet, your own feet. Se hace el camino al andar. Without a doubt, parliamentary involvement in any guaranteed income movement would make the dream more of a reality. But we still must come back to that equation. How much can I do on my own to open up the time and space to engage with my personal poetics, those projects, the real work? The most recent installment of the project took place this summer here in Salzburg, where these themes of income and personal poetic development were further explored through the guaranteed basic income. The question asked of Salzburg was, how will you live your life when you are guaranteed a basic income? What would you do differently? To find out more about the CAMINANTE project, go to www.thecaminanteproject.org, look around the website, click on the Participation tab, and join the ongoing conversation by submitting an answer to the question, what will you do with a guaranteed basic income? Let us know what you think. Thank you.